reading this book, and this paragraph got me, as you can see. My eyes go a crazy different color when I'm crying. I just wanted to read this paragraph out loud. It is striking to me that the word professor is related to the Latin for declare openly, testify voluntarily, acknowledge, and take a vow. A professor isn't someone who just reads, researches, publishes, runs the occasional lecture or seminar, but someone who is willing to declare publicly her findings and opinions, discuss them with others, and when required, live these principles, even when doing so is inconvenient or worse, comes with great risks. I'm only on page 20 of Dr. Julie Ponesse's amazing book. It's incredible. I think she has balls of steel, and I think she's the bravest Canadian, because she risked her entire career, and she lost her entire career as an ethics professor for talking about how fucked up these mandates are. I highly recommend this book. It's incredible. It's called My Choice by Dr. Julie Ponesse. The ethical case against COVID-19 vaccine mandates. If you think this is over, it's not over. And if you think that you've said things in the past that you regret, you will certainly regret them. And I don't even know what else to say. So I'm still reading this book, and another little part comes to mind about why this book is so fucking amazing. I'm going to read it out loud again. So I'm going to start here, page 20, in case you want to read along. Socrates, Plato's mentor, and according to many, the first true professor of philosophy. Pause there for a second. I'm just going to say, I used to like popcorn to another person to read out loud in school after reading like one sentence. So I don't have any experience like reading out loud. And that's a mistake. And I know that. And I've like learned that the hard way, because now I can't, and I'm like 27, so that's bad. Let me start over. Socrates, Plato's mentor, and according to many, the first true professor of philosophy, didn't write anything as far as we know. He went around Athens, engaging people in conversation, asking hard questions, and not shying away from uncomfortable topics. He didn't stop until the truth came out. Socrates was hardly an expert. In fact, he is famous for having professed his ignorance. Quote, whereas I, as I do not know anything, do not think I do either. Apology 21D. And yet he was better at getting at the truth than anyone just by asking questions. This is tough but worthwhile goal. It isn't clear Canada of the 21st century would make room for Socrates. It isn't clear we wouldn't accuse and convict him as the Athenians did. It isn't clear we wouldn't accuse him and convict him as the Athenians did. But this next part. In terms of relationship losses, I think COVID-19 and my public comments about it have been in many ways a test of the strength of existing relationships. I'm going to say that one more time because this is like words out of my fucking brain. In terms of relationship losses, I think COVID-19 and my public comments about it have been in many ways a test of the strength of existing relationships. Some relationships or people didn't pass the test. The recent situation has shown who they really are, or maybe who I really was. We've already covered the many philosophy colleagues who have abandoned, ignored, or publicly shamed me, calling me ignorant, blind, arrogant, or even selfish. In terms of my art career, I lost relationships with customers and some existing commission contracts. I also lost an important relationship with a local gallery owner, someone I had been rather close to and with whom I have had very thoughtful, deep conversations over the last few years. This is what we have gone through. And when I say we, I mean all of society. I mean, if you haven't lost someone because you think that they should give a shit more about COVID, or because you think they should give a shit less about COVID, then you are part of the minority. The majority of us have shifted our entire lives around, have lost jobs, school, relationships, marriages, best friends, aunts, uncles, parents, fucking sons and daughters. I've been going to rallies for the last year. I'm just gonna round up. It hasn't been a whole year yet, but in that time, I have met fucking hundreds of people, and they are now amongst my best friends. I have literally 30 best friends that I've met in the last few months and in the last year. And these are people that I'm gonna go to the grave with, and I know that. We've discussed things so much more in depth about life, morals, ethics, the way society is all interwoven into our lives. We've talked about this. We don't just say, how's the weather? How's school? How's work? We don't stick to these stupid lanes. We get to deep things, and we get to know each other deeply, so that eventually when another thing traumatic for our society happens, we don't lose each other, because we already know what we value. I think that's a big thing about where I stand with all this. For the longest time, I was raised as a girl, and I'm now a woman, and I have been a pushover. I've been a sub. When it comes to dominant and submissive people, I am submissive in every aspect, because every part of my society and my upbringing has made me into that. I'm 100% agreeable when I take those Myers-Briggs tests and stuff like that, or the Big Five or whatever. I'm 100% agreeable at all times. So, what does that tell you? I mean, now I kind of want to take that test again, now that I really know who I am a little bit more. But yeah. So I just find that really funny. This book makes you fucking think so fucking hard. It's incredible. And I'm only on page 21. That's incredible. When you find people who align with your values and your interests, you start to find that life makes more sense, and that there's color in the world, where for a bit you didn't think there was any color left in the world. I'm so thankful and grateful for people like Julie Ponesse. I love her. I'm so happy that she spoke. I'm so thankful that she spoke. Her speaking gave me the courage to speak myself. And so did everyone else that spoke up about this shit. I know that I was not the only one that thought this is all weird, because other people were like, this is odd. And the more you dig at it, the more you realize and find out what's going on. You can't be silent, and you can't be quiet. So that's all I want to say.